I think someone had asked me to basically look at their previous game and look at this year's entry of a game, and I think it might have been this one here. Whoops. Crypt of Sokoban 2025 by John McCardle. A McRogueface demo at 7DRL 2025. Now, for those who don't know, Sokoban is basically a very, very old game from last millennia. And the idea of Sokoban is that basically you push crates into designated spots, and have to basically avoid push them into unworkable formations and such. Basically warehouse keeper, as you can see right there. And that's basically the idea of these games here, I believe. So I believe there was basically one from last year, and we've played it, of course. So yeah, I've got a video right here. I guess we'll get to see how it's changed or not, but whatever. Yes, it's an incomplete submission for Sentinel 2024. So you push rocks, hold down buttons, go through doors, avoid or destroy creatures, find the loot. TBD, demo trailer embedded. How to play. WASD with player movement, push into enemies to melee attack. Period, wait one round. X, pull the boulder. The player will move in the opposite direction of an adjacent boulder. So you can actually pull them, not just push. Z, zap, require a wizard type weapon. The range is about 4 tiles before random upgrades. Move the boulder to the button, looks like a circle on the floor to unlock the exit. Click the stuck button and if it level is unsolvable. This should be rare, and if you have need for it, then I'd like to hear about what you encountered. Alright, so how to run. Basically, you can download for Windows, Linux, whatever. So, McRogueface Engine. I'm the developer of McRogueface Engine, and the best reward you can give me is a GitHub star. This game engine is for my sons, my students, and my inner child. I started by auditing Dave Churchill's comp for whatever right there. So the core principles of McRogueface are: zip up the McRogueface folder with your scripts and assets, and anyone else can run your game. Every game is its own minimal development environment. Frames are rendered completable in C++, and the engine draws rectangles, frames, text, captions, images, sprites, and entities and grids, 2D arrays, blah blah. So there's a source disclosure, there's the updates. He fixed the breaking distribution bug on Windows. I can't figure out how RPath works for Windows. Some computers still seem willing to look at scripts for Python files. Others expect them to be in the same folder as McRogueface.exe. It's an engine bug, so I just put the Python folder files in both directions for now. And there's actually quite a few files to download for this one, so that might be why that was the case for that. Fix some bugs from executing on the environments. Add run script for Linux .tar.gs file, and no game contents were altered for distribution fixes. Crypt of Sokoban will return and keep improving as a McRogueface Engine tutorial. Alright, it's just made by John McCardle. Let's see what it's basically got for us, and let's go from there. So, I'll leave a space right here. So, was, period, x, z, and that's basically it. And we'll see how it basically plays. I wonder if I can actually remember what the old game was like, but whatever. Excellent. Alright, Crypt of Sokoban. You can upscale it. Okay, very nice. Window mode only. Sorry, check settings for fine-tune controls. Sorry, did I suggest there were settings? I kind of ran out of time. That's the game jam for you. So, very, very basic, scales here. We have sound effects on. Let's play. I guess we might as well put this to window because, why not? And we'll capture this. Oh yes, I love window games like this. Isn't it fun? You get to see me get my practice basically points basically oh whatever, it's in center screen right there. Alright, so controls. Basically it gives me controls here. Push the boulder onto the button and open the door and descend. Click on the option to close this pop-up window. So Y is for player movement, X to pull a boulder backwards, Z is zap, requires a wand, and X to wait. Okay, so is that where I'm supposed to push it? Or is that where I'm supposed to push it? I'm not really sure. Okay, so it's the pressure plate. In many ways, this is sort of feeling like, you know, right now, it sort of feels like it's like sort of like a puzzle to, like, you know, what you might expect in a dungeon where you can actually pull and, like, you know, push around stuff. Because now we have enemy space to fight, and, you know, okay, so when they're basically like that, they're dead. You found a longsword. Want a career? No thanks, still deciding. So become a knight. I'm still deciding. Let's take the thing here. For all I know, by the way, it looks like you didn't, like, you know, stop running the walls, basically, like, you know, skipping turns, but not really. It matters. You got a wait button anyway, so whatever. Let's push this here. Push this here. Now, I know basically like the original Sokoban, there was no like pulling. You only push stuff. But I guess like with this sort of a game, like, you know, pulling's fine. I probably would actually like make it so, like, you know, this sort of sticks to like the old Sokoban principles. Maybe like, you know, pulling is like, you know, a lot more strenuous or something like that. There we go. That's done. I killed the rats. You found a shield. Want a career? No thanks, still deciding. I'll become a knight if, like, you know, nothing else pops up. You're dead. It looks like the AI is very simple, by the way. We got some errors popping out. I'm not really sure why, but okay. Both hands needed. You found broad axe. Leave it, drop the longsword and shield, or try to tinker for an upgrade. The tinkering failed. Okay, well, we didn't get an upgrade. Oh, well. See, a very simple AI. I lost a couple HP there. It's fine. Right now, this is very like simple sort of like concept here, but I mean, you know, in principle, oh, they kind of push around stuff too. The enemy resists the force of the boulder. Okay, well, interesting. I can, you know, crush enemies with boulders. There's a health potion, so I can use that if I want. I guess those guys cause errors, just like Cyclops men. There doesn't seem to be any, like, you know, bonus for like killing stuff, by the way, so it probably makes sense for me to this book when I get a chance. Both hands full. You found a hatchet, so I can replace the longsword with a shield. Try to tinker for an upgrade. Let's try tinkering for an upgrade. Boom, tinkering failed. I wonder if it's because it wasn't implemented or not. Button makes a satisfying click, very nice. So there's one way out. I wonder if it's supposed to be like multiple ways off the level here. You found your hands are full. You found a wand plus free. Let's replace the shield maybe. So now I got myself a shield. All right, now we're on this level. But yeah, as course, it's a very, very simple game. There's not a whole lot to it. It's just like push, like, you know, the boulder to the thing, and you basically you're good. Found a bearded axe, drop the longsword and the wand, try tinker for an upgrade. Longsword got +1 damage, okay. I have no idea what that question mark basically means, but okay, it's there. Try tinker. My longsword got upgrade, hooray. I guess I could leave now, so I might just do that, but let's just go over here. I found a buckler. So you can see the upgrades with the exterior star, I guess, but whatever. Tinker failed. Found a short sword. Try tinker. Wand got +1 zap damage. Now, this is like a very cool concept where you can basically like move stuff around on a map, like, you know, doodads like this. Something that might be interesting is like, you know, maybe you could have like, you know, secret rooms for or stuff like that, like, you know, in like, you know, a really dungeon where you could like move stuff around to sort of like get to like, you know, items, or maybe like, yeah, as part of like a, you know, an experience, you have to basically move stuff around in order to like, you know, get to an exit. And you have to basically, you know, figure out how to basically, you know, puzzle your way through and such. Now, one thing I'm basically sort of disappointed in here is the fact that it's just like one item to like, you know, an exit point. There's no real like, you know, nothing really special about that. Like, you need to have like multiple like rocks basically open like a single door, and that's just not happening. You can die. You found a short sword. Let's just tinker. Bearded axe. Tinker. I found a hatchet. Let's just place this, why not? You got a luck potion, hooray. I think I used it there. You got a wizard's staff, so this takes 2 hands. Sure, we'll drop both. I noticed, by the way, it's not giving me the option to try a profession anymore, so become a wizard. Boom. I'm a wizard. Hooray. Alright, what's this thing over here? So, hooray, I'm a wizard. Is that cursed? I can't really tell because, like, you know, both hands you need a scepter. Let's just tinker for an upgrade. Let's, inventory is full. We found a defense potion. Let's drink the health potion. I got defense potion. I seem to drink the luck potion here. Alright, so this is basically an unmovable level because we can't actually get this to here. Not like at all, so how do you reset the level? So I'm stuck. There we go. Even with such a simple level design, it basically, like, you know, got me stuck. So yeah, not great. It seems to be drinking the last potion by when I basically click those things there. So a little bit of an error there. I found a shield. I should place the hash, I guess. There's now a nice giant shield. Lots of defense. A sorcery potion. So, drink it right away. That would seem to work. I noticed why the Cyclops men aren't popping up anymore. I found a health potion. Let's drink this here. Of course, that gets rid of the other stuff. A luck potion. Drink it right away. Drink it right away. You know, let's just get rid of those potions just so they're not in my way anymore. I noticed why there's a bug where if I try and like pull it like this, like I'm standing right here, it'll move me 2 squares and put me on there. So that probably shouldn't be happening either. Alright, both hands are needed. Let's try and take it for an upgrade. I have another unmovable level because the door's locked here and I can't get by this chest. It probably would have been a good idea to actually make it so like maybe like the chests are like movable objects perhaps. And you can actually like, you know, make like an idea of it too where like, you know, the open chests don't actually stay around anymore, by the way. They like, you know, they could disappear when you open them and then you have like, you know, have to figure out how to, like what chest space to open, what chest not to open, stuff like that. But yeah, there's our stuck level. There's our strength potion. And we'll drink that. I found a shield 53, so we'll take this. Lots of defense. Always a staff 1. Try to tinker for an upgrade. Yay, more defense, my, like, you know, attack with a shield. You're dead. Again, another unmovable level because we can't actually win here. I was hoping to actually test like if I actually keep that stuff. I guess I didn't find anything useful though. There's a sorcery potion. I think the biggest problem I basically have here is the fact that it doesn't seem like it's doing anything all that special, this game. Like you could have like a lot of interesting ideas of like, you know, Sokoban where like, you know, like you're able to push on rats. Maybe you could like, you know, use it to like, you know, deflect like, you know, arrow fire or something like that or whatever. We'll drink this. Another health potion, cool. But yeah, there is bugs, to say the least. Drink right away. Zap. Zap. Maybe you can't zap when they're right next to you like that. It feels very odd basically when you have like the walls like, you know, this sort of blank on your screen. I probably have this like the first like, you know, wall here is always like, you know, wall. Because that makes it, this will like, you know, open doorways like make me think I can walk right off the map, which I can't, so issues there. I can't open that chest or that chest. That could be another idea too, by the way. You can actually have a chest have to be opened by like, you know, pushing rocks onto like, you know, dedicated buttons and stuff like that. I mean, the game is complete, but I'll note that I'm not really thinking much of this experience. I've already got bugs with the chest now. Can't open that. We're on level 16 here. I'm zapping stuff through walls. I can't complete this level. Yep, can't open the chest anymore. We'll get to level 20 and then we'll call it quits, I think. You can die. Yeah, we're sort of bull rushing to 20 at this point. Because why not? I'm not sure I can even be hurt at this point, so. It's hilarious. They're like, stepping the buttons here. Alright, well, obviously this keeps going and going, and I don't really care to keep playing, so we're just going to cut that off here, obviously turn it back to normal. That was basically Crypt of Sokoban 2025. The last one, of course, was a failure, but this one, of course, is, I guess, a success, but, a very buggy one. It feels kind of disappointing because, there's only, one boulder you're basically pushing around. It probably would have been a lot more, becoming multiple, but, it could have been a lot more interesting, I think, if maybe you have, more ideas basically here. It's just sort of like a basic tech demo, so to speak, right here. And not a whole lot more basically saying that. So improvement in the fact that it basically works, but not much more than that. So yeah. Take care all.